Hi guys, I'm Miss Barr and I am a huge lover of this book. So I decided to help you out by going over a couple of things. Now, number one, say it with me. Scout is a girl. Scout is a girl. Now, a lot of people get confused. I don't know really why, but Scout is a girl. She is, of course, living with her father Atticus and her brother Jim during Depression in rural Alabama. And this is a big deal that she is wearing overalls and that she insists on playing boys' games. Because at this time, the gender divide is super wide. And the entire ideology is that girls behave this way and boys behave this way, and never the twain shall meet. So we have two characters that cross that divide over and over again. And that is, of course, her, Scout, and Dill. And we're going to talk about the fact that both of these people are literally drafted after the author herself, Harper Lee, and her best friend, whose real name is Truman Capote. She just calls him Dill. But it's a huge, huge thing that she made two characters so different. Now, let's go through the questions and see if you guys have any problems. Now, the first one is just a check for understanding. Did you get this information? Okay. Now, time and place, definitely check out the map of Alabama. We're talking rural Alabama during the Great Depression. We are talking poor. Now, Atticus's relationship with Maycomb, we don't have this so much in Turlock, but especially in small rural towns at that time where a lot of people never traveled past 20 miles past where they were born, he is strangely related to a lot of the town, either through blood or marriage. And they talk about this over and over again. Now, I know there's a lot of inbreeding jokes that people make, but let's not go there, okay? What do you think it means to make people ghosts? Now, you guys know the term ghost from the internet and from social media, and I'm sure you guys can answer this one really easy. What do you think is the movement inside the Radley house? This is totally your opinion, but I need you to justify your answer. I mean, you can't sit there and say bunnies, okay? No, there's nothing in the book about bunnies. Let us continue. Why is Dill such a liar? What does this reveal about his home life? Now, there is a, a condition known as being a conjoint liar, or being I guess that term's kind of mean, but being a pathological liar. And this is a person that lies all the time. Now, normally, if you guys look up those terms like pathological liar, it'll tell you on the internet exactly why these people lie. And in Dill's case, it is an indicator that his home life is very bad. I'm going to limit and be vague. So go take a look. What do you think of Miss Caroline? This is totally, totally about, how do you feel about her? As nothing good, bad, or ugly. It's just about, what do you think of her? Why is she put in there? Remember, there's no mom. What are Miss Caroline's expectations of students in her class? Are these realistic? Now, one of the biggest things about teaching is that you need to know your audience. Who are you going to teach? And I think Miss Caroline might have broken that rule. You tell me. This is not in the movie, but you get an idea of how Scout thinks and how she behaves and what kind of person she is from this. So definitely take a look at it. Who was really embarrassed by Scout's statement in the classroom? Why was Walter insulted? Now you're going to find out that who is really embarrassed, and why does Miss Caroline really get mad? Because Walter's reaction is not what Miss Caroline describes. So definitely take a look at this interaction between these three characters and try to suss out for yourself what is really going on there. Why does Miss Caroline really want Scout's tutoring at home to stop? Now, this is what you guys call petty. Miss Caroline says, do not learn to read. And that's a really odd statement for a teacher, but please, you have to understand at this time, there are two ways of teaching English or to read. One is called phonics, where you learn the sounds of letters and then you sound words out. The other one is called rote. Rote is when you read a word enough that you memorize what it looks like, and then boom, you know that word. And she wants them to rote learn instead of phonics. And so she doesn't want any competition when it comes to teaching, and that's kind of bad. It's not even kind of bad, it's bad. Now, how does Jim diffuse the situation? Jim, you're going to find out, is really, really good at just stopping a situation from escalating, making everybody calm. And how does he do this? What can we assume from Calpurnia's discipline a scout and embarrassing Walter? Okay, so Calpurnia literally smacks her butt and tells her no. What does this tell us about Calpurnia's role within the household? What is Atticus's response to how Scout should approach Miss Caroline, similar to Dill's response to Jim about the turtle in chapter 1? Again, we're going to leave the pillar of characters out on this one. But definitely, like, how does, Jim tell Scout, just be quiet, try to be understanding, she's new. And that's Atticus is trying to get her to understand, yeah, you might be right, but in this case, try to understand she didn't mean to do any harm. Instead of looking at just her actions, look at her intentions. Yes, she messed up, but she didn't do it on purpose. So how is that like, don't stick a match under a turtle? Now, up next, do you agree with Atticus saying sometimes it's better to bend the law? This is up to you, completely your opinion, but definitely justify your answer, which means you're going to give me, for example. That's a great way to start it. You're going to give me the answer, and then you're going to put, for example, comma, and you're going to tell me why you're right. Now, how does the narration change from 3 to 4? That one's really hard. Some people just do not catch on to it. So definitely, let's go turn to those pages. And you have this really strange, it's kind of a temporal leap. Now, when we look at 3, she's talking about the past. When she gets to 4, it's very much her jumping a little bit into the present. So the first one is all, very much in the past, passive voice. And then we get to chapter 4 and we go into the active voice and we are moving into the present. Calpurnia uses a racial slur to describe what she thinks of the rumors about hot steams. Why do you think she does this? Is she showing racial bias? This is up to you. Now, there are racial slurs that are used throughout this book. At the time that this book is published in 1960, these racial slurs are a part of the American vocabulary. It does not make them right. And Atticus actually says in the book, people don't use those words unless they are low. And he says they only use them around people they think will agree with them. Now, then we have Calpurnia, who is an African American character, using that racial slur. But what does she mean by it? And is this racial bias? I don't know. You guys tell me. Now, what factors lead to the new drama surrounding Boo Radley? Okay, so we have something happen to the Radley family. That's what I'm looking for here. Okay, and this is a good one. Do you think Atticus really knows what the kids are doing? Because they're playing this weird game where they play Radley family, and it's really morbid, and it's kind of creepy. And Jim's like, oh, he doesn't know what we're doing. And, we have Scout going, are you sure? So you tell me, in your opinion, do you think Atticus knows what they're doing? And why do you think that way? Now, irony. No, this is a really big one. Irony in the book versus irony, that is verbal. So we have different types of irony. Verbal irony is when you say one thing, but you mean the complete opposite. For instance, if it's like 104 degrees in my classroom right now, and I'm like, oh man, it's chilly. I am literally lying. I am saying one thing, meaning the exact opposite. Then there is situational irony. Situational irony is when the exact opposite of what we think is going to happen happens. Now, this isn't coincidence. It has to be the exact opposite of what we think is going to happen. The last one is where we actually land, and that's dramatic irony. Dramatic irony is when we know more than the characters do. And this is throughout this entire book because the book is in the point of view of a child. So we understand what people are saying and we understand what's going on. And because she's a child of 6, she does not know what's going on. So that's what we're having there. We're having dramatic irony, a disconnect where we know more than she does. Number 2, how does the author's time period affect the book? Guys, you can take a look at the language, the way that people get around, transportation. It's there's a lot, and of course, it is the Great Depression, which is one of those things where America as a whole completely combusted. And so we have this idea of desperation and hunger and sadness and everybody being in an economic sinkhole. So that really does affect how the book is read. And research question. This is where you're going to actually look it up. Can you tell me what did Harper Lee's father do for a living? Because that really affects what this book is about. And why would it affect it? Now, ladies and gentlemen, that's everything for your beautiful, wonderful, fabulous first week. I know it was hard and it was really long, but the thing is that it's going to get much easier. These first 4 chapters, you gotta stick with me, and then after that, things get so much easier. I promise. I will see you guys later. Be good.